Today I'm going to go through my knife drawer. I think the first question that you should ask when you go through your knife drawer is, how many knives does a person need in the kitchen? I actually had no idea what the answer to this was, so I Googled it, and it turns out the consensus is you only need 3 to 5 knives. You need a chef's knife, you need a paring knife, and you need a serrated knife. A few different articles conflicted a little bit, but not by much. So, my knives are kind of old at this point. They were cheap from Amazon. They were exactly what I wanted, and I registered for them for our wedding. And they're the ones that I used in a cafe that I used to work in, and I loved them, and that's why I registered for them. They have served us very, very well, but they are not super nice, and at this point, most of them are too old to use anymore. And because of some of them being serrated or being a certain way, we can't really even sharpen them anymore. And some of them have actually dented and chipped on the blades, so we're getting little pieces of metal sometimes. I mean, this sounds way worse than it is. We're not eating metal all the time, but we definitely have dents in the metal, and I know that we have probably consumed very trace amounts of metal because of these knives. We recently ordered 3 Cutco knives from my cousin to fund their adoption, which was an excellent decision, and I was really happy that we were able to do that because we wanted Cutco knives for a long time. And we got the 3 that, I mean, Alex is kind of the knife guy, to be honest. I am very picky with which knives I like, but I let him choose which ones. And so we have 3 of those. So I'm going to include those, and we're obviously keeping those ones. We just got them and they're excellent, but I'm gonna go through the whole knife drawer, and it is kind of my junk drawer. I don't really think of myself as having a junk drawer, but it's definitely the drawer where things kind of accumulate that maybe don't belong there, maybe do. So I'm gonna go through and we're gonna decide what needs to stay and what needs to go. No. No. I just want to know, how many knives does a person need?
Different knives for different situations. Well, I've got to think about it, because you need a chef knife, a paring knife, a decent serrated knife.
You Googled this, haven't you?
No. I want to get a fillet knife because I want to start filleting the fish.
I'm not talking about getting knives.
I know. Probably 5. I could probably make a list of 5 knives that I think would be like critical in any kitchen.
Do you think we have too many knives?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your participation. Well, Alex guessed it. He did not Google it, in fact, and he was still right. Story of my life. All right, now that I have it laid out on the table, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was, except this. All of our dishes are clean, so apparently we have lost this knife forever. Or maybe we lost this while we were getting rid of a knife. I'm not sure which. But this is actually not as bad as I thought, but our knife drawer, as you saw earlier, is not large, nor should it be. So I'm just gonna go through and pick the knives that I think it makes sense for us to have, and show the knives that I'm getting rid of and tell you the reasons why. Sorry about the lighting. I normally use natural lighting and it just started pouring rain. So this is what we have for right now. And I don't know where my tripod is, oops. Anyway, so this knife, the first one, is a little bit rusty. It's not in great condition. It's a plastic handle. This is from my parents' house and I grew up with it. And I honestly never liked it, and I always reached for different ones at my parents' house, and and it's not very sharp, and it doesn't seem like the kind of knife where you can sharpen it very easily. So I personally would like to get rid of that one. I'll have to see what Alex says. This is a knife that Alex got in Taiwan. The tip is a little bit bent and it's not in great shape and it's not super nice. It's Kiwi brand. I don't know what that means. But Alex used to go to the markets in Taiwan and, you know, fillet his own fruit and cut apart pineapples with it and stuff. So he's honestly a little bit emotionally attached to this one. I don't know if he would say that he is anymore, but he loves this knife. So I'll see if he would love to keep this or if he thinks that we can do without it. But we do have a Cutco sleeve for it for some reason. I don't know why we have this, but that's what we keep it in. So I already mentioned the Cutco knives. These are our 3 Cutco knives. I think this is a paring knife. I'm really bad with knives and what they do and what they're called, but I think this is a paring knife. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. So we have that one, and we have, my favorite knife is this version of the Cutco knife, but a little bit shorter, like this short, because it's just a better size and balance for me and my hand size. But really, we have our paring knife, I think, our serrated knife, and our chef's knife. So this is really, that looked pretty violent. This is really all we need according to the internet. My problem with the Cutco knives right now is that, well, for one thing, I cut myself pretty badly a few weeks ago because I'm so used to dull blades, and I switched to using one of these brand new Cutco, and I did cut a chunk out of my fingernail that is still recovering. That's not a real problem. That's just kind of a personal problem. My problem with the Cutco knives is that we don't have a knife block, and I don't want one because it is counter space. But our knife drawer is within reach of kids if they really want to get something. Our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old, mostly our 2-year-old, who is a wild card and just an insane person. I would never put it past her to go and grab a knife out of the knife drawer for any reason. They frequently grab butter knives to unlock doors in the house. You just don't know. So I'm not really comfortable keeping these in the drawer. So ever since we got them, we've had them in a mason jar on our counter, which is no better than a knife block. But I don't really know what to do. I don't know if I should just find a spot up higher to keep our knives. I think that's gonna come probably with the entire kitchen declutter that I'm still going to do in the future. But that's my issue with these, because they're so sharp that they could cause a fatal injury very quickly. So that's my issue with those. And I don't know, does anyone have any suggestions for that? I don't know if I'm being paranoid about the kids with them, but they're really sharp. So anyway, I do want to keep this one. It's from my grandparents' lake house. It's R.H. Forstner, and it's made in Switzerland, and it's apparently a pretty nice knife. This one is basically unusable because of how dull it is. So I do want to keep it because it's an excellent knife, and it's nice, and I do like the way it feels in my hand. It's a good, balanced, comfortable knife. It's got a wooden handle. I really have always liked it, but it needs sharpening really badly. So I think we're going to keep that one, but it needs to be sharpened. As we know now, Caroline needs knives to always be dull or always be sharp, or accidents will occur. So this is another one out of that set, and I think this is the same. Maybe not. It might be a different brand. Anyway, I'm gonna ask Alex about this one. I don't have any attachment to this knife. I don't even know what it's for because it's straight and then it's serrated. And I know that this must be a specific type of knife that maybe is very useful to some people, but I don't use it. It's super dull, again, because these knives are probably 40 to 50 years old. And who knows the last time they were sharpened. I do want to get rid of this one. This one is also from my parents' house, I think, but it's not sharp either. And it's kind of, I remember when I was a kid, I feel like my mom would cut grapes with it or something. I use a serrated knife for that. It's so small. It's really, really small. You see how small it is. And it's not sharp. So I'm still getting rid of that one. Now, we have all of the colored knives, and honestly, some of these I love and use daily. So this is tough for me because I don't really want to switch completely to like the Cutco, like large ones that are too big for my hands. So I'm kind of wrestling with that. I think I might keep 2 of these because this one, and honestly, I never used these when we first got them. I used the smaller ones, like these ones, but I think because I used the smaller ones so much, they got dull, and then these became the good ones. So eventually these will get dull too, and then I will stop using them and get rid of them as well. But this one, I don't know. It's just, it's a good size for me, and it's pretty sharp, and it does its job for me. So I'm hesitant to get rid of that yet. And Alex has sharpened this one, I think. I'll see what he says. If he feels like there are chips or dents in it that aren't necessarily safe for our food anymore, then we will get rid of this one. Same with this one. It's a good size, it's sharp, it works really well for me, but if it's not a great knife anymore, then we can get rid of it. And these are not permanent keepers. They're just not gonna last. But for right now, that's what I would like to do. I am ready to get rid of this one. It's half straight and half serrated. I don't remember which one this is for, but as you can probably see, there is paint chipping off, like peeling off of these. I assume you're probably not supposed to put them through the dishwasher, but I don't have time for that kind of a knife in my life. I do hand wash the Cutco because they're really nice, but these were Amazon and we have always put them through the dishwasher. So the paint is peeling and, you know, they're just not nice anymore. I'm fine getting rid of this one. I'm totally ready for that. It's just smooth or straight, whatever you call that. There's no serration on there. This is a serrated small one. I don't remember what this is for, but I think this is the one that I usually use to cut grapes and things for the kids so they don't choke on them. But I think I'm ready to get rid of that one because it's not in great shape anymore. And we still have this one, which we actually use this one all the time still for, this is a tomato knife. So it cuts tomatoes really well, and I don't feel like getting rid of that one because we really do use it all the time. And I can also cut grapes with this one because grapes are basically tomatoes. I'm sorry, but I'm not a chef and that's how I feel. This one, you know what? I don't know what I want to do with this one because this is actually, it's very useful for cutting bread, but we don't really cut bread very often because we have dietary restrictions, and when we do buy bread, it's already sliced for us. We even buy bread at the farmer's market that's very clean ingredients, that's healthy, like that somebody made themselves, and they still pre-slice it for us. So I don't really know if we really need this one, even though back when we were buying bread that needed to be sliced, we did use it. I think it's time. I don't think we need it. So I'm gonna get rid of that one. Same thing with this one. This is specifically a bagel knife, and we never eat bagels. And if you're a bagel eater and you feel like this is worth your drawer space, then like we have for the past like 6 years, then I'm sure this is great for you. But we definitely don't need a bagel knife. And if I was gonna keep one of those, I would certainly keep just the bread knife. Okay, this one is actually a lettuce knife. I'm sure most of you know what a lettuce knife is, but this is another thing that I discovered when I was working at the cafe that I worked at before we got married, and I made salads at the cafe all the time, and it was just a magical romaine cutting experience. I learned how to take the root off of a lettuce head, and it was so fun, and I learned how to cut lettuce up, and cutting romaine with a lettuce knife is so satisfying, and it doesn't bruise the lettuce, and it's just so nice. Alex thinks it's useless, and we don't really use it, and we don't eat a ton of salad anymore, and when we do, it's usually like spinach or arugula, something darker that you don't really cut. So I don't know if we really need this one, even though I specifically went and looked it up and ordered it myself because I love everything about the experience of cutting romaine with a lettuce knife. But yeah, I'm gonna put that in the maybe pile. I'll discuss it with Alex. I think he's gonna say get rid of it because he's never really wanted to have one. So the last thing, the last knife. This is Alex's home defense knife that he keeps in our knife drawer. He kind of just stows home defense weapons all over the house, which, I mean, like, what am I gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, if he wants to keep a home defense weapon in our knife drawer, I guess, like, good for him, you know? The last thing I have here is I know that this was a hand-me-down from someone. I know that this was given to me by some family member from like a grandparent property or something like that. It's probably, I don't, honestly, I have no idea what this is. And I'm probably just being ignorant. I know that most of you watching probably, it's one of those things where you probably all know what this is. I don't, and suffice to say, I have never used it, and I probably never will. Is this for cheesecake? Is this for pie? I don't know. Why do I have something in my drawer that I don't even know the purpose of? Anyway, this is a no-brainer for me. It's gonna go. So far, I am keeping. You know what? I'm just gonna show you in a different clip so it'll be clear. All right, this is what I have ended up keeping, which is going to fit very comfortably in the drawer if I do end up putting all of them in the drawer. Because of the Cutco really sharp ones, I'm not sure, because they don't really have proper sheaths, so I don't know. But that's definitely a big improvement. This is my maybe pile, my ask Alex pile. I think there are a couple in the no pile that I probably will still ask Alex about. But so far, this is good progress, and I know for sure that all of the ones that are colored, he will be totally on board with getting rid of, because he has mentioned it many times before, how much he hates them now, and how dull they've gotten, and how we can't really sharpen them. So I know that he's not going to argue about those. And probably not about this thing that we've never used before either. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of the lettuce knife, because as satisfying as it is, I can just tear up the lettuce. If we ever eat romaine, I can just tear it up. So I'm gonna do it. Look at this mess. This is definitely, when I remove the knives, it's totally a junk drawer. And I'm shocked that I have a junk drawer, but it's clear that I have a junk drawer. So let's address this situation. So a quick explanation of the items in here. This is a mag light. It's a super nice flashlight for anyone who is not aware. No regrets here. This is probably the only flashlight we'll ever own. And I'm gonna talk to Alex about this being in here. I'm not sure if this is super thought out or if it's just a place that it could fit, but I don't mind it being in here because we do have room, but only if it's a very conscious decision and not just, you know, something to do. We have a wine bottle opener, which we don't drink wine very much. I would be fine getting rid of this. I would be fine giving up wine forever. I don't really care about it, but you know, we've often had people over and needed one, so I don't really know where else to put this, and I think it's fine that it's in there. So we have matches, a lot of matchboxes that we didn't buy. These are actually, I think these are from my grandparents' house maybe, and I just didn't want to waste them, and we do use matches for lighting candles and things like that, and Alex uses a cast iron grill outside, so he does need to light the grill. So we do use them, and I hate to waste them, but maybe I can consolidate these. And I do like having these in here because this is where the counter up here is where I keep my candle during the fall. I have one scented candle. So I'm gonna try to just consolidate these, but I do think that's weirdly enough, where they do belong. This is a old knife holder that doesn't really do any good. I don't really understand it. I think it's maybe suede or leather. It's dirty and it's old, and I think I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't think that this is necessary to my life. We do need a can opener, but I think we had one that broke, so I'm gonna take that out and see what else comes up, because I think we might have one in the cutlery drawer. This is a flathead screwdriver. I'm not sure why this is in here, but I do know that Alex reaches for it a lot and uses it a lot out of this drawer. So that's another question for him, if that needs to go there and really belongs there. This is an old magnet for a child safe lock for a cabinet, and I know for a fact that we got rid of these because they all broke, so that's going in the trash. I have a ton of cough drops in here, and I think these are probably all expired. This is an embarrassing one. I don't know, I do know why they're in here, actually. I will tell you. When I am super sick, I just pop cough drops all day. That is so gross. This is just the most convenient place for them because it's right by the kitchen sink and the dishwasher and the fridge, and it's just my central spot. So I just want to have cough drops with me all the time when I'm sick. I haven't been sick in a really long time, but this was helpful, I think last winter. And I don't know, I just kept them in here because I didn't want to. And also, I might have had a baby in the room where we keep them, so it might have been one of those situations where I couldn't just go in all the time to grab a new cough drop. So this is kind of like a purse. I don't know, does anyone else have that big purse bag where they have a ton of cough drops at the bottom? That might be an old lady thing, but I know that I have been that person in the past, and I guess maybe I just switched to the junk drawer being the cough drop place. But I'm gonna throw these away. Those belong in the trash. They are old and gross. They're not that old, by the way. Do you guys want to discuss my scissors problem? Because it looks like I have one. So that's how many? 5 pairs. That is too many scissors, and this is definitely a struggle because they're all perfectly good scissors, and I hate to get rid of things when they're perfectly good, but you know, I need to. There's no reason to have 5 scissors in this drawer. Now, I know that scissors are a really popular item in those things I only own one of videos, but as a mother of young children with choking hazards taken into account and everything, I actually use scissors in my kitchen multiple times a day. I'll use a pair of scissors to cut a hot dog or cut a grape, or there are actually so many things that I cut up food-wise with scissors. I cut pizza with scissors, just so many things. And I will end up at the end of the night with like 3 or 4 pair of scissors just in the dishwasher. So it seems like a lot, but I do use them. So as far as minimalism goes, you know, it's not really about having just one of something or none of something. It's about having what you need and what you use. So I'm going to have to, I think 3 is reasonable. I think cutting by 2 is reasonable. There's a tape thing that doesn't have a holder for itself, and I don't know why this is in here. I have no idea, and this is very, very wasteful, but honestly, I'm gonna throw this away because I know that I can't put my hands on a thing to do with it, to put it in, and I know that it's old. I know for a fact it's old. It's probably from my grandparents' house too, honestly. But that needs to be thrown away because it's old. Here is a small mag light. Okay, I'm fine with this being in here, but this is definitely not necessary to me. So I am going to talk to Alex about this one. I think that this is way too big for the drawer, too heavy. They're very heavy flashlights. So to me, this is just like not necessary and it doesn't belong there. It probably goes in the garage or downstairs somewhere where we can, it probably belongs somewhere where we can access a flashlight for the fuse box or something like that for when the power goes out. We have this one in the kitchen for when that happens. and then we can have one maybe by the fuse box. I don't know. I'll talk to him about that too. A lot of these end up being Alex's decisions because he does just end up making decisions to put things where I don't feel they belong, but it's also his house. So I will have discussions with him about some of these things. This clips on to, it's too big for that. I thought it belonged to that. I'm gonna have to ask Alex once again what that's for, because I know it went to something and it's crazy that it's just floating around in here. See, look, tape. See, we don't need this in here, but also we obviously don't need this one. This is an old one that's not as easy to use as like the good Scotch. I mean, maybe it's not as good, but I prefer this kind of tape. So this is gonna go in my kids' craft drawer, like their art drawer. It does not need to be in here. I don't know why I would need tape in the kitchen at all, but their art drawer is in the kitchen as well, so it'll be right there if I need it. This is an essential oil roller that Leah gave me, actually. I think it was a stocking stuffer, or maybe it was like a white elephant. And I don't use this frequently because honestly, I don't remember if it's safe for nursing, and I'm nursing, but I know that I will use it and I have used it. So this is, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about the chapstick and the essential oil roller. So this is way too much chapstick. It's really unnecessary. I did not know this was all in here. You know what, I'm gonna switch to my face because I'm tired of looking at this gross, dirty drawer that I'm gonna clean. Okay, as I was saying about the chapstick, I have 5 things of chapstick in here and a Vaseline tube that I use sometimes in the winter at night over my chapstick just to bring my lips back to life when it's super cold and dry. Okay, it's too many for the drawer, and that is clear. I feel like a lot of people would say, why do you have chapstick in your knife drawer? Even in your junk drawer, why would you have chapstick in your junk drawer? And it's an excellent question, but listen up. I think this is good for minimalism talks and also just cluttery person life talks. Something that is talked about sometimes is like only put stuff where it belongs and like have a home for everything and don't have a junk drawer, and something that some people do touch on, like Dana K. White. I just read 2 of her books and I'll probably talk about those at some point because they were excellent and really, really resonated with me. But she talks about how if you are like a clutter person, like a slob personality, and you're trying to get better, don't put things where they go, put things where you would look for them. And honestly, this is where we have kept the so Alex threw the chapstick in this drawer when we moved in because it was in a box, he was unpacking, and he didn't have any other place to put it. I think that's the reason why. I use this chapstick all the time, multiple times a day. I go to this drawer while I'm cooking, while I'm doing the dishes, while I am like sitting in the refrigerator, cleaning stuff out, chopping vegetables, whatever. I use this chapstick multiple times a day. Should I move this chapstick from the knife drawer just because it's a knife drawer? No, I'm not going to, because this is where my chapstick goes. I don't keep it in my bedroom. I don't keep it in my bathroom. I keep some in my purse, like I mentioned in the purse video, and this is where the other stuff goes. And I'm fine with it because I know where it is. I know exactly where it is. If I need chapstick, I know exactly where to look. And this is just where it goes. Like, it makes sense to me that it's here, and it's been here for 2 years now. Now, are there too many? Yes, for sure. And I'm gonna go through and make sure everything, like some of these are probably too old to be used anymore. But that's why I have essential oil roller, like an essential oil roller ball. And that's why I have all this chapstick in here, because it is exactly where I would go to look for it. It's fine. It fits in the drawer. It maybe doesn't go with the category of, like a knife drawer having knives in it, but it is exactly where it needs to be. So this is an example, and I am by no means an expert in any of this. I am a messy person that I'm trying to change my habits in my house, but I think as a messy person, I do understand the struggle, and I am doing what works for me because this is where my chapstick belongs. It's not where a lot of your chapsticks would belong, a lot of you, but for me, this is where it goes, so I'm keeping it there, and I'm fine with it because I use it all the time. Oh, and as I was going to clean it out for real, I found a zip tie. Why is this here? Why do we even have zip ties? I knew it. I knew we had 2 can openers, and I know that this is the good one. So it's nicer, and I think it's the newer one. So I'm definitely getting rid of this one. Hooray. So I'm getting rid of these 2. They are the older version of the Costco ones that we have. I think these are just the newer colored, different colored versions. And I found a tiny bit of rust on both of these. Not much, and it's definitely not something that, you know, I don't need to throw them away. I'll still get rid of them because they're usable, but it just made it an easy decision because, you know, why keep the ones with a tiny speck of rust? You have 5 pairs. All right, this is the finished drawer. I think I have 2 other pot holders that are in the wash right now, and I probably could stand to get rid of one of those too, but for now this is okay with me. And I actually didn't end up getting rid of any of the chapstick except for the Vaseline one, but I don't know. Oh no, I use all of them, so this might be like something that I end up transferring somewhere else. You know, these come in a 3-pack, I think, and I'm not just gonna waste them. I'm just not that person, so I don't know. Maybe this is me making a weak decision, but you know, it's not all about being an extremist. So you know what? I can take it. I'm an adult. Tell me if you think I'm keeping too many chapstick tubes in my kitchen drawer. Is that unreasonable? Sure, go ahead, let me know. I don't care. I mean, maybe I do care. I don't know. How many chapstick tubes do you have in your kitchen? Anyway, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your knife drawer looks like. How many knives do you think are essential? Do you agree with Google and Alex? Is 3 to 5 a good number, or is that not enough? Or do you just have 1 knife? Are you a extremist? If you want to describe your knife drawer, I think that would be interesting to know how many knives other people have. I don't actually know. This feels pretty good to have that drawer done, to get rid of a couple of pairs of scissors. I know we've needed to do that for a long time. I feel pretty good about today. It was a small project, but that's all you can do sometimes. And every small step is a step towards a more manageable house. And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking it as slowly as I need to, as I have time. So thank you so much for watching. Please tune in next time as I declutter goodness knows what next. All right, she won't stop talking, so I'm gonna just include her in the video. We would love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel. Hi. She's tired of me talking, I guess. We hope to make as many videos as we can in the future of me getting rid of stuff in our house. Yeah. Can you say like and subscribe to our channel? Say like and subscribe. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next video.